So today I wanted to read the prologue out of the new book that I just wrote called Unmasked, My Journey to Hope and Healing by Jennifer Hummingbird White. I'm going to read the prologue, The Outsider. And if anybody was wondering, Hummingbird is a name that my dear husband gave me on his final deployment to Iraq, and it has just stuck. So, Hummingbird, I am Hummingbird. The Outsider. There's a certain hush that settles when you feel out of place. A silence that isn't kind, isn't restorative. It's not tender, quiet that wraps you in warmth during a moment of solitude. No, the silence is barren and suffocating, an invisible weight that makes you feel like a ghost in a room teeming with life. The silence, this aching void, became my unwelcome companion long before I had the words to describe it. Shadowed me in classrooms, lurked behind the laughter playgrounds, and clung to me even in the supposed sanctuary of family gatherings. It was a reminder, persistent and cold, that I didn't belong. At school, I was a target, an easy one. My awkwardness seemed to light me up like a beacon, warning to others that I was different in ways that I couldn't understand, let alone control. The teasing began early, sharp and relentless, whether through loud, cutting jeers or quiet, conspiratorial whispers. A misstep in my speech would provoke a snicker. A stumble in my walk would invite mockery. Even now, I can feel the hot sting of humiliation, the searing burn that comes with the effort of pretending not to notice. Yet, it wasn't just school. Even in the circle of family where I longed to feel safe and seen, the ache of being out of place followed me. I hovered on the edges of rooms filled with easy laughter and familiar banter, my voice caught somewhere between my chest and my lips. The adults would ask why I was so quiet, their words tinged with a concern that felt more like judgment. My cousins, siblings, and relatives moved through these gatherings as if they spoke a secret language of belonging I could never learn. Meanwhile, I stayed on the periphery, shrinking into invisibility, desperate not to draw attention to my discomfort. One Christmas lingers vividly in my memory, the house alive with the sound of crinkling paper and warm smell of holiday feasts. My cousins gathered in a circle, lively circle, their voices rising and falling in a symphony of jokes and stories. I stood on the outskirts, clutching the hem of my sweater as if it were a lifeline, aching for an invitation I knew would never come. I wanted so badly to belong, to step into their rhythm, to feel the effortless flow of connection, but I stayed where I always stayed, on the edges, a silent observer. Deep down, I knew I was different. I didn't have the words to define it then, but I could feel it in every interaction, in every stolen glance and averted gaze. It was a quiet, aching knowledge, a truth that weighed on me like a stone. To survive, I learned to mask. I studied the people around me as though my life depended on it, watching, mimicking, trying to understand the subtle choreography of their movements and their words. I became an actor in a play I didn't understand, reciting lines I could never truly believe. It was exhausting. But I thought it was the only way to be seen, to be accepted. Even then, my performance always felt slightly off, a note out of tune in a symphony of expectation. No matter how carefully I rehearsed, no matter how hard I tried, the mask would slip, and the truth beneath would show. And with that unveiling came shame, a deep shame, a shame so deep it seeped into my bones. I grew up believing I was a disappointment. To my classmates, to my family, to myself. I thought if I could just be better at speaking, better at connecting, better at being normal, then maybe, just maybe, I'd finally be enough. So I chased this elusive version of myself, reinventing and reshaping who I was, hoping to find the magic formula that would erase my sense of otherness. I threw myself into books, into new hobbies, into anything that might hold the answer to the question that haunted me. What was wrong with me? Now looking back, I see how that question shaped me. How the desperate search for belonging became both my survival mechanism and my chains. The masks I wore, the relentless self-improvement, the quiet hope, they kept me going, but also held me captive. At the time, I didn't know the truth that would one day set me free. The belonging that I sought couldn't come from others. It had to come from within. But I didn't know that then. All I knew was the silence, the shame, and the fragile, flickering hope that one day, somehow, I might find my way out. And then that leads into part 1, the weight of expectations. This book is filled with stories, my feelings and my thoughts, and my experience. And I hope through it that the people that need to hear it, and are helped by it and given hope. And I hope you realize that you are enough. You always have been enough, and you always will be enough. So with that, much love.